WPSL Northeastern Conference matchup. Let's meet the teams for today's contest: Vermont Wild FC and Sporting Connecticut. Here are the starters. First, for visiting Vermont, in goal, wearing number 1, Lynn Subchak. In the field, wearing number 6, Christina O'Neill. Number 7, Sonia Franklin. Number 9, Eduarda Quiroz. Number 11, Delilah Otero. Number 12, Aurora Rella Neal. Number 13, Swiss Mohammed. Number 16, Samantha Dormer. Number 19, Sydney Malaga. Number 21, Rihanna Kern. And number 22, Sienna Gillespie. And now the starters for Sporting Connecticut. In goal, wearing 0, Caitlin Daly. Number 5, Emma Malone. In the field, number 2, Julia Sally. Number 3, Greta Brunello. Number 6, Christina Stone. Number 8, Tiffany Weimer. Number 21, Kylie Carlos. Number 22, Emily Senator. Number 67, Giovanna Dionizio. Number 77, Aubrey Culpa. Number 81, Brenna Brown. And number 90, Alex Chang. We ask at this time, if you're able, to please rise and kindly remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem. The flag is situated behind the sporting bench. Thank you for your support of WPSL Soccer, and enjoy today's match.
And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. You're watching a presentation of WPSL Soccer here as we're coming to you from CCR, as this is the second home match of the season for Sporting Connecticut as they welcome in Vermont Wild in the first ever meeting between these two programs. JJ Duke here with you. Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. And to kind of shake things up a little bit today, doing it in terms of the public address, had to go downstairs onto the field and then climb up to our commentary position here. So if I'm a little out of breath, I apologize for that. Thanks for spending your day here with us. And yeah, let's go over the teams for both, as we did have a little bit of a change last minute for Sporting, because I went off the squatty page and it had Caitlin Daly listed in goal, but Emma Malone gets the start today. Then the rest of the starters for Sporting, who are in the black jerseys. Julia Sally wears 2, Greta Brunello wears 3, Christina Stone wears 6, Tiff Weimer wears 8, Kylie Carlos in the back wears 21, Emily Senator 22, Giovanna Dionizio wears 67, Aubrey Kolpa 77, Brenna Brown right in front of us wears 81, and making her first appearance for the club is Alex Chang, who will be in the back as we're underway. It's Sporting with the possession to start, and they're in the black jerseys today. Meanwhile, for Vermont Wild, they're playing their second match of the weekend. They were up in the capital region of New York State yesterday to take on Albany Rush in a match that was played over at Union College's campus, losing that one by 2-1. In fact, that started a home-and-home for Vermont in their first season back in WPSL, albeit under a new name. They previously were the Vermont Fusion for their first 3 seasons back from 2021 through 23. Now back here in WPSL as Vermont Wild. An early chance here for Julia Sally. A little bit of a heavy touch and shielded well by the number 7, Sonia Franklin. Let's give you the rest of the starters for the visitors, who are 0-2 on the season under the direction of John O'Connor and Aaron Murphy. Lynn Sobchak is in goal. Christina O'Neill wears 6, Sonia Franklin wears 7, Eduarda Quiroz wears 9. There was also one change. That was an enforced change by Vermont from warm-ups prior to opening kick, as there was originally supposed to be Kaya Peters in the starting lineup wearing 10, but she was scratched for Samantha Dormer, who wears 16. Dormer, who scored the lone goal yesterday for Vermont, and what was an equalizing goal in the second half before Albany scored the winner right at the death. Delilah Otero wears 11. Aurella Neal, wears the number 12 jersey. The foul, it'll be free kick coming here for Sporting. Swiss Mohammed wears 13. Sydney Malaga 19. Rihanna Kern wears 21. Sienna Gillespie wears 22. And it's off the quick restart. There'll be possession back with Sporting. It looks like Weimer a little bit slow to come back up after getting clattered. Seems to be okay as the throw goes in towards Sally. The messaging from Sporting coming into this match is starting quicker. It was a tricky afternoon last weekend in the Bay State, in the Ocean State, as Sporting Connecticut traveled out to Rhode Island to take on the Rogues and gave up 2 goals inside the first 20 minutes and then gave up a goal just a few minutes into the start of the second half, ultimately getting one inside the final 10 minutes from Mary Kate Sullivan, but not enough to get 3 points. In fact, dropping points for just the second time in organization history in WPSL action. This will be a throw for the hosts just off to our right. And it's kind of crazy to think about it for this Sporting Connecticut team since they started the pre-professional era playing in UWS back in the 2023 season. This group has only dropped a handful of games. Went 7-1-0 in the regular season in 2023 and got all the way to the UWS semifinals that year. And then in 24, they went 8-2 in the regular season. And then last year, the 9-1 mark. So it's very rare that Sporting drop points, especially so early on in the season. But they're looking for the start that they were hoping for, which is to get some early possession, a couple of chances. That was deflected wide off the foot of Brenna Brown. And it'll be a corner to come here inside the first couple of minutes. And it will be Brown to trot over and take this. The native of North Salem, New York, and a Fairfield University graduate from 2017. This one taken to the edge of the area, and Weimer got a piece of it, but not the cleanest of connections that she would like. So Christina Stone will reset. Still everybody forward here for Sporting. This one dinked into the far post and gobbled up by Subcheck. I'm trying to go direct. That was intended for the player that came in right before the start of this one in Dormer, who actually scored the lone goal for Vermont Wild, and that's also the first goal in the era for this new version of Vermont. As I mentioned, they were the Fusion back from 21 to 23. Very successful in their 3 seasons in WPSL as the Vermont Fusion. 16-6-6 across their 3 seasons. Got all the way to the East Region Final in 2022 before falling to SJEB. Concluded a 7-win, 2-loss, and 1-draw season. A little bit of a slower start in this, their second era, but the first under the name of the Wild. As Dionizio on the opposite side of the field, a little 1-2 with Weimer, but that pass going into touch, and it'll be a throw for the Wild. Organization based out of Manchester, Vermont, and play their home games out of Applejack Stadium, a very unique facility. It's one of those where it's, first off, an all-grass surface, as that'll be a foul and a free kick coming to Sporting. All grass, which is something that you don't really see at this level all that much, not because of the fact that there aren't grass fields, but just you need to have that artificial surface to make sure on crazy weather nights that you have games that are good to go, but they play with grass field and also a facility that has a really old wooden grandstand. Doing a little bit of research on it, it was part of a old horse track or horse racing track. And it was built somewhere in the 1890s, which is wild. But yeah, it'll be a fun one for the teams that go up there. Albany Rush already one of those teams that has traveled up. As Brunello trying to stretch but not able to keep that on. It'll be a throw for the visitors. And that's Sienna Gillespie who will take it. Native of Tampa. One of a number of players that come to this Vermont team by way of the junior college program Daytona State, who are back-to-back junior college Division I champions. One of a few players that have made the trip north from the Sunshine State up to Vermont. Sonia Franklin trying to build this now to Rihanna Kern on this near side. Ball clipped in looking for Swiss Muhammad, and it just carries enough back to Malone, who gets a start today. She and Caitlin Daly will split the halves. In the past, it has been Daly who has gotten the first half and then Malone the second, but switching it up today as Weimer. Oh, it's a lovely ball over the top, and Kolpa's in here. Kolpa, chance to give her team the lead, which she does. It's a pretty little scoop ball over the top from Weimer, and Kolpa, as calm as you like, able to slot it underneath Sobchak, and well, that's exactly the start that Sporting wanted. Already this season, Aubrey scoring one very similarly. That was against Inter-Connecticut down in Norwalk a couple of weeks ago. In that match, Kolpa had a number of chances before getting her name on the score sheet, but one chance, one goal here today, and that one coming in the 7th minute of this contest. That's now 2 home matches here for Sporting Connecticut where they get on the mark inside the first 10 minutes or so. As in that first game of the season against Vail, it was Weimer from a free kick about 30 yards out that swerved over the top of the wall and went in. That was barely inside of 90 seconds. So an early setback here for the visitors as Sydney Malaga trying to switch it to this near side, but Kylie Carlos with the interception. That was intended for Aurora Rella Neal. Alex Chang trying to play into a channel. Chang making her debut for the club this season. And Subject has to play that one out. She was not sure if that was going to carry out. Good chasing by Brown. Chang, first year as a starter with Yale last year in her junior season. 14 appearances with a goal and a couple of assists for the Bulldogs. There's Carlos now, a chance to pick apart a cross. Instead, that pass takes a deflection, has to be scrambled away, which it is, by O'Neal. Christina, one of a number of players that ply their trade up in Vermont. She plays with Castleton. Might have been a shout of a handball there, but no one yelling to the referee. Sobchak's clearance doesn't get past Stone, but the visitors will reverse fields to the far side. Muhammad, good bit of skill there to try and split a couple of defenders, but the pass ahead scrambled back by Cheng. Muhammad, someone that brings a lot of experience and a really interesting story. The native of Ghana who then came to Millbrook, New York, went to the Millbrook Academy as part of the Right to Dream Academy, and goes to James Madison, an all-region and all-Sun Belt selection, and has played professionally in Egypt and most recently in Cyprus with Ammonia, and won the title there back in 2025. And at this level, you often see a lot of players with college eligibility left, and some even at the high school level who are going up. But often to have success, you need a couple of players that are postgraduate, and even some that have played at that professional level, whether it was for a number of years or for a stint. As Dionisio, a little 1-2 with Weimer, but the flag does come up. It was a nice little 1-2 there from Sporting. I mean, you take a look at the Sporting team that won the WPSL National Championship last year, especially the group that went down to Oklahoma to win that title. You basically had a roster full of either players that were still at the high school level or players that have played professionally. As Brown able to intercept, Kolpa nearly getting to that. That's a great recovery, though, and Vermont will try to build out of the back. Rella Neal, an option down the wing, and it was on for Kern, but just a bit too strong. Great tackling from Sonia Franklin just to be there at the right moment. Another direct from back to front, intercepted and guided straight back. Franklin playing 1-2 with Rella Neal. Just joining us here, a goal for Aubrey Kolpa in the 6th minute. That's the difference thus far. As Weimer with a little scooped ball over the top, beating the offside trap. And Christina Stone, another strong tackle from her. She got tripped up, but the referee waving that one away, and a chance now for Kern to pick apart a pass, looking for Mohammed, but intercepted by Cheng. Often enough in the WPSL, you do have teams that play back-to-backs, and for Vermont, they're no exception to it, playing one this weekend. They'll have another coming up later on the campaign. Yesterday, I called a match that featured the Merrimack Valley Hawks, who will play a few back-to-backs. You never quite know what you're going to get from a response from that team on the second day of a back-to-back. Do you have squad rotation? Do you have players that get heavily substituted just to keep some of the legs for that second game? But pretty much it's the same team for Vermont from a day ago. But looking the part, no doubt about it. The one benefit in this league, of course, you do get that roll-on, roll-off sub, so you not have to force players to play the 90 and then go again, do it the next day. Senator onto the left foot, but right at the keeper. And Sobchak will ask for everyone to get forward. Vermont, though, do have a reserve goalkeeper in Caroline Carr-Smith, and then the better part of 5 field player subs. Weimer's gotten in behind, has a look at the keeper. The strike is right on target, but right at the netminder. And once again, Vermont will just ask for everybody to get forward. Just not a lot of distance on that clearance from the keeper. It's been a few times now. So it has allowed Sporting to get a little bit higher up the field and win those first phases. And Dionisio does well to take it off of a Vermont player. Weimer completes the switch with Brown. Dionisio making that big run. onto this near side and able to take it off the defender, Franklin. And trying to win a corner with that back heel. And it's cleared again, not a lot of distance behind it. And a strong start here for the hosts as Julia Sally trying to link up with Senator. And Muhammad trying to launch one over the top for a quick counter with just Dormer ahead. Now it's Sienna Gillespie, but just shielded away. It looks like Sporting Connecticut will make their first change, and it's going to be Brenna Brown who will come off, and it's going to be Mary Kate Sullivan who will come on. Gillespie on the opposite side of the field, another one of those players that played at Daytona State. Dormer, another D3 player, doing the job on the front line. But yeah, those the Daytona State pipeline that's worked here between a few different players, Franklin as well as Gillespie, as that ball played through. Senator rounds the keeper and finishes. Sobchak had to make a decision there. She came, but Senator was able to win the race to that spot. And inside of a quarter hour, Sporting have doubled their lead. And you feel like in that situation, it's only one of three things that are going to happen. It's either going to be the keeper collects a penalty or the finish that you saw with Senator. And you saw afterwards where a keeper having a go at her defense. But in fairness, it's exactly what Sporting Connecticut have done really through the years ever since they started this program, is they will play through the lines. And that time it worked out brilliantly. Yeah, so Kolpa in the 6th minute, Senator getting her first of the season after scoring a fair few goals last year. In fact, 6 of them, but 3 of them coming in the postseason. She was one of the few players with college eligibility that did play in the postseason. For those that maybe are questioning, well, why would you have players sit out? Well, more often than not, when we get closer to when college programs start their preseason in late July, early August, you have coaches that will just call these summer teams and say, hey, listen, minutes are in the tank. We can't afford any injuries. As that was whistled as a foul, it looked like Sullivan got a clean touch to it. It'll be a free kick coming to Vermont. So that's why Sporting had to have so many young players in that postseason roster, whether it was in the regional tournament or in the national semifinals and finals. And Senator was one of those players that was deemed available to play in that national tournament, and boy, did she make the most of it. 3 goals across 4 games in the regional and national tournament. And then translated that into a move to Oklahoma State, where ironically enough, that's where the national semifinals and finals were. That comes after Emily, who is the Southland Conference Player of the Year at Northwestern State. And someone that no doubt is going to be a fan favorite for Oklahoma State coming up this fall. Stone, how about that for an idea? And Sobchak does ever so well to get something to it. Maybe not the most conventional goalkeeping, but effective nonetheless. Now, Sporting Connecticut are pulling all the right strings here in the first phase of this first half. Bit of a heavy touch from Senator, but able to get it back with Stone. Muhammad, though, is able to step, and now a chance here for the visitors to break with Dormer. Muhammad has one more with her. Flag does stay down here. Eduarda Curo is able to reach to that, but not able to earn her team a throw. That's really good defending there from Alex Chang. And stepping into that back line between her, Carlos, and Brunello, with Sullivan coming in now at the right back position. And that was a good break from the visitors. Just a little bit unlucky that they weren't able to get much from it. Not a great pass out of the back from O'Neal. Sporting not able to do much with it. Chang gets wrestled off the ball. Here's Dormer trying to strike from distance. Deflected. Pops out to this near side for Kern. Anna Kern back to Dormer, but just couldn't sort out her feet. And then the flag goes up for offside as Quiros right to read that one, but just not in the right position. And really unlucky there, has to be said, for Quiros. Another one of the players that has a really interesting story to how she got with this Vermont Wild team. Quiros, the number 9 out of Xavier University of Louisiana. Not Xavier that you hear in the Big East, but an NAIA school. Played 13 games last fall. That's the beauty of this sport. It does not matter where you play. You're going to get found, and teams will be trying to get your signature, whether it's to move up or whether it's to be playing in this league or other pre-professional leagues, or, hey, you never even know. Could turn into a move elsewhere in the future. That switch is going to work out to Weimer. It's a big one from Carlos. Colpa and Dionizio seeing who they want to get that off to, and eventually it's going to be blocked behind out for a corner. And Kylie Carlos, that is outstanding with that big diagonal. And in the 21st minute, a chance here for Sporting Connecticut to get everybody forward once again. And pretty much the only players that are not around the area is Brunello and Chang. As Sullivan will play short to Stone. Christina to the back post, but the intent was to find Senator, but not guided on to ahead of a Sporting Connecticut player. And it looks like Vermont will be making changes, and with Manchester not all that far away from Burlington, we will deem it the hockey-style line change, 3-on, 3-off. Of course, the Catamounts of the University of Vermont, which do have a few players with this organization who come from UVM, our outstanding facility at Gutterson Fieldhouse. Still a place I've yet to check off in terms of attending and watching a college hockey game. And that pass will drift into touch. It's on the bucket list, no doubt about it. So of those changes that came in, Nana Tanikawa just below us wearing the number 4 jersey. Spotting the 14, that's Alexandria Lohner. I believe there is one more that came onto the field for the visitors. And that's the 8, Pia Laura Wisniewski. Player that's familiar with this area. Wisniewski playing the last couple of seasons at the University of Bridgeport. At the Division II level, one-time national champions back in 2018. Just about the halfway mark here of this first half. Goals coming in the 6th minute from Aubrey Colpa and then Emily Senator 9 minutes after that. Pretty much the entirety of the first half has been dictated by Sporting Connecticut, but Vermont have shown moments and flashes going forward. Has been the combination of Swiss Muhammad, who's trying to chase this ball down, as well as Eduarda Quiros. But even with this new partnership in terms of game time situation of Carlos and Chang has worked out to really good effect here for the hosts. They're currently finding themselves in a 4-way tie for first place in this Northeastern Conference. Albeit for Sporting, this is going to be the halfway mark, believe it or not, of this WPSL season. We'll just have 4 more matches to go in regular season play. They will take a break, though. There's a reason why they had to stack a couple of matches early on in the season, because next week they'll fly out to the West Coast. More on that in a second as the ball over the top. Sally gets tackled off the ball by Subcheck, and Julia has stayed down. Referee deeming a fair challenge from the keeper. Now that ball put out into touch, and that was one that Subcheck was fair to go for it. But Julia Sally right now and told to take a seat, and that was one that certainly you knew just the way that the keeper was coming out would be one that probably ends either with the keeper swinging and missing or that big collision. But good to see Julia getting back to her feet and walking off. Sally scoring the second of the 2 goals away at Connecticut a couple of weeks ago. That was in stoppage time where Weimer was able to slide through a ball past 3 defenders and Sally able to guide it inside the far post. Now, kind of interesting here because the athletic trainer did come onto the field. I thought if it's not a yellow card offense, you have to have the player go off, but I guess the referee's deeming Sally fine enough to stay on the field. Dionizio should just be giving possession back over here as Vermont did put the ball in the touch to allow the AT to come on, and we're back underway. And thanks for spending this Sunday afternoon here with us in Middletown, Connecticut. And this what is the second home match of the season, but the halfway mark for Sporting Connecticut is getting into where they'll take a little bit of a rest period from WPSL action, but they're going to head out to the West Coast next week to take on the California Storm in a rematch of last year's WPSL final in the Brandy Chastain Cup, which features the last 2 WPSL champions. It's going to be a match that'll be out in Davis, California. Scheduled kickoff time of 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Make sure to stay with the Sporting Connecticut social media channels to see where you can watch that match. But a great opportunity to showcase the best of women's soccer at the pre-professional level. And for Sporting, who have really showcased their abilities both at UWS and WPSL. And then California Storm, the 5-time champions in this league that has been in existence for over a couple of decades. Should be a great spectacle for what we can have here in the summer months in American women's soccer. And no doubt players from both sides are going to be up for that one. It's almost kind of fascinating to see how many players from both of those teams will have returners from the final last year where Sporting just absolutely put their foot down, raced out to a 4-0 lead, and that's all they needed to see it through the finish line. Sporting do have a number of changes from that squad from last year to this year. The fact that they've got a number of players that are playing professionally now. As this ball over the top for Culpa as Weimer in the area. It's a great challenge. Played out for a corner, but Sonia Franklin timed her tackle. And once again, a set piece coming here for the hosts. Again, everybody forward here for Sporting as this goes short. Brunello returns it. This clipped in. Subject got a piece of it. It ends up being enough to turn it around for another set piece. It was Culpo with a teasing ball towards the 6-yard box. And Subcheck does enough. And a key word is enough just to parry it wide of the mark. That could have been dangerous. Set pieces were a problem for Sporting to defend last week against Rhode Island, but not too many teams would be at fault for the fact that it was just absolutely monsooning from start to finish in that game. But today, they're the aggressor with the set pieces. This goes all the way through, and it's going to be another corner. Actually, might have looked like it came off of a Sporting player, but the referee was there. Subcheck once again got a piece of it when she was backpedaling. Now we're seeing a couple of different routines here from the hosts. And again, everybody's been called forward. This hit towards the back stick, looking for Carlos, and it's cleared off the line. It was a powerful header from Kylie, but it was guided away from danger at the last moment. It was Malaga, the one that rose tallest and cleared it away. Because that header from Carlos had Subcheck beat cleanly. It was just a perfect ball from Kolpa to the back post. It's one of those areas where if you're zone marking, you're not going to be able to chase it down. You just hope that the players on the line can do their job. And also, it proves the point that you need to have someone that's still hanging on the post. More often enough, they're going to be called into action as new balls, please. That went into the woods. It'll be a change as Julia Sally comes off. Again, looks to be fine after picking up that knock about 8 minutes ago. Then we'll get the first team debut for the season for Gabby Tirado. Wearing the number 33 jersey, and what a college season she had in the fall, did Tirado. All MAC selection out of Marist University with 11 goal contributions in 19 games, and then made the move down to Elon. That's where she's going to be playing next season. And Marist had that double-digit match unbeaten run last year under coach Pacapelli-Ciano. Going to be something brewing there, no doubt about it, but Tirado now getting into the box. Just another great option that Sporting Connecticut can bring off the bench with the attacking mentality. And it's kind of crazy to think that you look across the back line of Carlos, Chang, and Brunello. They all can contribute with goals. And Stone, who's sitting in front of them, well, she was the national leader in assists a couple of years ago at the University of Hartford in Division III. You got those players that can get in and amongst the goals or set up the goals, and then everybody ahead of them that will find the back of the net. And that was a big thing for Sporting last year, the balance that they had, just so many players that they could call to for goals. And here's one. We're going to see Abby Burgess at some point today. Burgess, who had 9 goals last season, and also played a handful of games for the reserves teams as well. Kolpa, who had 7 goals last year, basically in 7 matches in the regular season before Penn State called her back. You have Abby Johnson, who's on the bench, who's already scored this season. Lainey Smith, who had 3 goals last year, capable as well. This is ladled through towards Kolpa, and it's off the bar. That beat Subcheck cleanly, and the chance from Dionizio goes wide. Sporting keep firing chance after chance towards the goal, and this time it was the crossbar that keeps the visitors in it. Yeah, it's a great ball from Weimer, and Kolpa, not for the first time this season, where she's rattled the frame of the goal. Ironically enough, it was the goal that Lainey Smith scored in the opener against Vail, where Kolpa, almost about the same spot actually, that hit the crossbar, albeit from a different spot in the field. And if there was some sort of sarcastic remark that you can make to a crossbar saying, "What did I ever do to you?" Weimer trying to help that on towards Kolpa. Well recovered, and Sobchak will again clear her lines. Been a better part of a few minutes now since the last time we've had Vermont in the attacking half of the field. Franklin once again doing the defensive duties. And this is where you're playing 2 matches in 2 days, how the legs will hold up. It's kind of a strange one because it was a fairly decent start from the Wild. Just not able to carry that forward. The referee did play an advantage. But again, Sporting right back in possession. Coming up on the half-hour marker, in fact, past the half-hour mark. As Chang now will reset things from the back, only Quiroz chasing after. And Tirado is trying to make that run in behind. Instead goes short with Stone. Weimer. And better from Tanakawa and group. Not allow anything down this near channel, so Malone will reset it from the back. One of the first times we've seen pretty much all 10 field players for Vermont inside their own half. Not really much of a counter press, though. Sitting in just a can't call it a low block, but a very compressed block. Albeit in defense, this is probably the best phase of this game for the visitors. Not allowing Sporting to play out or from over the top. It's a good area from Carlos, and Senator made the right run, just a little bit too far for her reach. But those are those areas that Sporting want to be hitting it into. Trying to see if you have those delayed second runs going into space. Because with how compact Vermont can get, and they did in that area, that's where the gaps can open up. This over the top for Brunello's gotten forward here. It's a good touch from Greta as well. But it's going to be a handball, unlucky for the Sporting defender. But again, where you have that compressed shape, all of a sudden the outside backs can really play a key factor into the attack, making those delayed runs. Rella Neal nearly able to recover that. Doesn't, and now wholesale changes coming here for the hosts. As Dionizio, Senator, and Culpa will exit the field. So Lainey Smith on, as is Abby Johnson. There's one more as well. We'll get that confirmation in just a moment. Sullivan, short. And Grace Simpson. Okay, so I didn't have her listed in terms of available substitutes, but Simpson making another appearance. Unfortunately, I usually get a piece of paper from Sporting coaches prior to the match, but never got that. So if I missed anybody, and I missed who the goalkeeper was, though, albeit I could have looked up, because usually you just default to Caitlin Daly who starts, but it was Emma Malone who started. Having the information prior to also does help. But hey, we make things work. We don't make excuses, we just adapt. That's good pressing from Lainey Smith after entering the field just a couple of minutes ago. Again, already with a goal to her name this season for the UNC Greensboro product. Good from Carlos, and now Sullivan a chance to pick apart a pass. Eventually falls to Weimer. Smith was near it. Now Brunello. Simpson got a foot to it. Weimer's going to carry. There was a player that was offside and a sliding stop from Subcheck. Again, utilizing the feet to good enough effect. Another change coming for the visitors. It'll be Quiros, the one who exits the field. Gives us a moment to kind of shake it out up here in the commentary position, the gantry that we have. Johnson to the near post. Keeper gets fist to it. That time the most convincing of the clearances that she's had off set pieces. Weimer, though, will clip it in towards the back post, and it's off the bar. Well, I could tell you, as someone that played that position, it's the worst thing as a goalkeeper when you think you have the line right, but it's a ball that's just looped into space, and you are hoping that it just goes over. In this case, the keeper's best friend, the crossbar, is there. Yeah, those are the areas that are the absolute worst to try and read anything off of. Every time that Sporting Connecticut have had a set piece, they have not rushed things. They have put crosses into good areas. often enough on top of the goalkeeper, but that's okay at times. You're forcing the keeper to make a choice. As Malone will reset. Brunello. Back with Chang. And a player making an appearance today for the first time with the club this season, but she has looked absolutely every bit the part that you want. When you have changes that come in, again, at this level, when you have changes, it's more because of player unavailability. As Subcheck will see this go all the way through. Or if you just want to rotate and change some things, or some players might have played a lot of minutes, so you get someone else an opportunity, or it's because a player, and I'm not saying this for Alex's case, but often enough a player that is just not available for the first 3 or 4 games of a season but is ready to go for the second half. And Chang has stepped in, and there's been no lapses in communication. Everybody's on the same page with her, and it's a credit to her and everybody else around to make sure that getting the spacing right, the marking right, and there's been no gaps in the back line. Oh, good turn from Smith, and now his options to either side. Looking for Johnson. Keeper stays home until just now as Subcheck is able to clear it away. That was nearly an inch perfect ball from Laney Smith, and really more unlucky than anything else because Johnson read that perfectly with the run. Alexandria Lone are able to switch fields. Here's Wisniewski. Gillespie. And albeit with little possession that the visitors have had in this first half, as that is launched on frame, goes as a shot on goal from Sienna Gillespie. Only just a couple of goals down in this. You find anything over these last 4 minutes or so in the half, take some momentum into halftime, reset. Both of their matches for Vermont against Albany Rush were close. 2-goal loss in the opener and the 1-goal loss yesterday. But you hang around, and if you get that half chance and players with the scoring capabilities that they have on their roster, or in this case, generate a set piece, only good things tend to happen from them. And it's going to be Franklin who will launch this into the box. Well, that's wasteful off the set piece. Immediately a foul on the visitors, and Sporting will just happily take their time. Should expect a couple of minutes of stoppage time because he had that injury to Julia Sally, the couple of goals, and then the few waves of substitutions. But probably no more than just a couple of minutes. That pass given away. Tanakawa and Rella Neal. Good read, though, by Smith, and she's got Johnson ahead of her. A big switch on if she can, but well read by Franklin. Has been one of the best players in the field thus far for Vermont outside of the keeper. A couple of times Sonia has been called into action and has read each tackle perfectly. And Rella Neal, chance now to carry forward. Tanakawa, but again, just not able to latch onto those passes. And directed towards her space a few times here over the course of this first half. And Tanakawa, another good story, a player by way of Japan who's played at junior college Indian Hills Community College in Iowa, a traditional power at the JUCO level in soccer. All region twice. We're trying to get settled into this match here. Now Tirado with space to turn and drive. Instead, that pass, look out. Now, see, if we were on the field where that ball went out, that would have been problems. Fortunately, with this 5-foot gantry that we're on top of, anything in the air, we have to make a play. Well, no, not we. I have to make a play. Fortunately, the right arm is the one that is still not slightly fractured, but that's for another story. I can't go down low, though. That's not happening. The catcher's knees, those have given away about 10 years ago. This goes all the way back. And we're into the 45th minute here. And the 2 early goals from Sporting Connecticut. That's been the difference thus far. They've had the majority of the possession in the attacking half of the field. Hit the crossbar a couple of times as well. They're searching for that 3rd goal. Well done by Franklin to guide that all the way back. And for what I was waffling about, basically we have this open scaffold gantry set up here at CCR. So anything that's driven our way in terms of a ball that goes out of bounds, I have to make a play on it. Tirado now onto the left foot. Not a bad effort, and it goes in. Right on the stroke of halftime, Gabby Tirado. That's outstanding. And it's 3 to the good here for Sporting Connecticut. Well, the gaps all of a sudden just opened up, and yeah, pick that one out. That is right in the upper corner. A player who had so much goal-scoring form from last season at Marist, carrying it over to the summer now. Her first opportunity. And she takes the most of it. As we are into stoppage time now, can't imagine there's going to be a whole lot. In fact, the referee has the whistle to mouth. But you could say this for the host. They have deserved that 3rd goal. It has been coming. And with that, the whistle will blow, and that is halftime. Well, we were about to say it was a 2-goal advantage for Sporting Connecticut, getting a pair inside the first quarter hour, one from Aubrey Colpo, one from Emily Senator. And you felt like there was something left out there for the host. But on the stroke of halftime, Gabby Tirado, her first of the season, has given Sporting Connecticut a 3-goal lead. We will step aside, be back in a quarter hour for the start of the second half as you're watching WPSL Soccer here from Middletown, Connecticut. All right, welcome back here. We're just a few moments away from the start of the second half between Sporting Connecticut and Vermont Wild. Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon here with us watching WPSL action. Let's take a look at the 3 goals. First of which, Aubrey Kulpa getting her second of the season after scooped ball over the top from Tiffany Weimer, putting Kulpa through her second of the season. That was in the 6th minute. Now here on the quarter hour, another ball played ahead from Weimer that Emily Senator is able to round the keeper and finish. And you're thinking at that point, 2-0, probably a good scoreline, but still something to be there. And step-up substitute Gabby Torrado on the stroke at halftime, left-footed thunderbolt into the upper 90. And that gave the host their 3rd goal. And it was one, certainly, again, the scoreline worthy of the margin that they have. Vermont Wild, they showed some flashes over the course of the back half of the first half. Didn't really do a lot to test Emma Malone in goals. We're underway, and it is Vermont who will get us started in their shall I call their gray tops. Going from left to right on your screen, it'll be a throw for the host. Changes coming for Sporting Connecticut. And now, despite it still being in the squatty page, Caitlin Daly starting the match. She did not. It was Emma Malone. Now Daly in there. Kylie Yepes, who is right below us, wearing the 25 jersey, also in. Julia Sally back on the field as well after coming off. She did pick up a knock, was able to go on for a little bit longer, played about 20 or so minutes, and then came off. And it does look like Brenna Brown is back on the field, wearing 81 on the other side of the field. Looking across for the visitors, it looks like the majority of the group that started the match will remain on the field, as this goes back towards Lynn Subcheck in goal. And a handful of saves in that first half, both conventional goalkeeping and then some unorthodox keeping. But again, ultimately as a goalie, your job is to keep the ball out of the back of the net, using her feet a couple of times to make sliding saves, pawing away a few crosses as well. She did her part to keep Sporting off the score sheet after giving up the first 2. And as you saw in the replays, both of the goals are just slotted balls ahead and timely finishes. And then it was Toronto who stepped up and absolutely rocketed one to the upper corner. And that's, I mean, you could really say for Lynn, no chances on any of those for her to make a stop. As a keeper, of course, you want to be stopping everything that goes your way. But we'll see how Vermont adapt here as we go through this second half. Again, JJ Duke here with you for our entire Bluegill Productions crew. Appreciate your supporting us, whether you're watching on YouTube or via WPSL TV. A giveaway in the middle of the park for Samantha Dormer. And Dormer scoring yesterday in the second half. It was an equalizing goal on the road at Albany Rush. But then Albany were able to score right before the end of the match to pick up all 3 points. Not a great clearance from Daly. Comes back to Swiss Muhammad, but a side-footed effort. Oh, you wonder if Muhammad was able to even take another touch. Sporting, not to say taking their foot off the gas for a second there, but another takeaway and a chance now here for Rihanna Kern, but looking for Muhammad and just not on the same wavelength. Well, you figure you get that 3rd goal, then things look really good. Kulpa, is she able to keep it on? She is. The entire Vermont back line saying that ball was out. There's no help until now. This ball towards the edge of the area, slotted through towards Weimer. Sally's still fighting for it. Sally gets a shot off, but Subcheck there to hold. Well, Aubrey Kulpa with a delayed run from the midfield and does ever so well to keep that ball on. And then eventually, after Vermont failing to just knock it out of danger, Sally able to get something to it and forcing a save. Sienna Gillespie's ball deflected. Christina O'Neill nearly selling her teammate short there. Safety first from Aurora Rella-Neal. This goes back towards Daly. Alex Chang going back. Chang really solid first half from her. The Yale product making her first appearance from the start. But as I say that, another giveaway. Sporting have not gotten out of the gates as quickly as they would like. That's 3 times now inside the first 5 minutes of the second half where they have not played out from the back all that well. Vermont, though, not cashing in on the opportunity. And Sporting are sticking true to who they are, playing out of the back. Though we have seen over the course of this year that they will go direct at times. But their true identity is building through each of the 3 phases. But this is the start that Vermont wanted here out of the second half. And never easy chasing those 3 goals, but we've seen in this sport where, they say the 2-goal margin is the worst to defend. I actually say the 3 because if you have a team that's inspired coming out to start the second half, they get an early goal, then all of a sudden really anything can happen. That is a great switch out wide, and Brown is in a pocket of space. This ball played in towards the penalty area, cleared. Kolpa once again stepping through. Aubrey already with 1 goal in the day. That's deflected towards Weimer, but the chance is deflected, and it is a corner. As the center referee and the AR on the opposite side of the field looking at each other for a moment. But it is going to be a set piece coming for the hosts. Someone's got to figure out who wants to take this. It'll be Brenna Brown. It was a very solid first half of set pieces for Sporting Connecticut. Put a few chances right on top of Subchak in goal. Weimer gets it short. Sliding challenge from Kern does enough at the moment. Scrambled away, but only as far as Brown. Her chance knocked down. Sally trying to reach it, but Eduarda Quiroz clears it away. That's a safety first mentality there from the winger in Quiroz. Chang. Sobchak off of her line, and it goes in. Well, we've been singing her praises all afternoon long. Well, you can add her name as well to the score sheet as Alex Chang from a long way out makes it 4-0 to Sporting Connecticut. And the question is, she'll have to answer it at some point. Did she mean it to go from that sort of distance? But at the end of the day, if it hits the back of the net, you don't care how it got there as long as it does. And it most certainly flew in. I did mention that Chang, in her career with Yale, has had a couple of goal contributions, so it's not a surprise to see her hit the back of the net. Just that time in the manner of which it did. And after a great start from the visitors in the second half, normal service has resumed for the hosts. As Yepes looking for any sort of help. And Vermont still carrying forward despite now the 4-goal deficit. They earn a throw. And Chang with a goal and 2 assists this past season for Yale. Getting her first of the season. And Sporting, after a tricky day at the office a week ago today, away at Rhode Island, they have done exactly what they've needed to. Get off to a quick start. They haven't really been a team that has gotten off to quick starts this season, taking their chances and finishing them. In fairness to Sporting, sure, maybe the Inter-Connecticut game is Muhammad will try her luck from distance, but Daly will let it go wide. They'll look the part of a team that could be a threat in this league. Sure, the scoreline will say 5-1, but that was a scoreline that was very unflattering to them, the performance that they showed on that evening. Very windy and chilly one that Sporting got out to that quick lead and were able to finish it off from some mistakes from Vail. And then that Rhode Island team, they look like a team that could be the ones from a few seasons ago that got all the way to the national semifinals. This Northeastern Conference is extremely strong this year. The 2 Middletown teams, more on that in a second, as Weimer, the little interchange still goes on. Bounces back to Kolpa, puts it into space, and Subcheck, well, just about does enough to cover. As Stone making that deep-lying run from the midfield. Who started that run, nearly finished it. But yeah, both of the Middletown teams in Sporting and Vale, they are strong. Merrimack Valley, they put 7 yesterday against Connecticut. Well, that's going to be a foul on Sally as Muhammad gets dragged down. Yeah, so it's the two Middletown teams, Rhode Island and Merrimack Valley, all groups that definitely will be fighting for that top spot and the champion of this conference and representing the conference in the East Region tournament, which will be hosted, I believe, by the champion of the Mid-Atlantic Conference. And then, yeah, Albany could take points. And they have a number of players that came over from New York Shockers who are not supporting a team in WPSL this season. Connecticut Rush also could be one of those teams that could make some noise. It's going to be really interesting to see. And again, when you only play that one single round robin, so home or away against the other 7 teams, then one team, your almost travel partner in a home and home. There's not much room for error, and you feel like it might go down to the final game of the season, which ironically enough, it is Sporting who will have that game. That'll be against Connecticut Rush. That could be the difference makers. Dionizio trying to tee it up onto the left foot. That is a strong tackle, not once but twice. But it pops out to Weimer. Now Sally. Brown trying to clip it over the top looking for Weimer. It was a good idea, but it goes all the way through towards the keeper. And speaking of the results from elsewhere, this is the only game that's going on in the conference today as Kolpa trying to slide Weimer through. Good tackle, though, from Delilah Otero. Had a little bit of the jersey, but only had eyes for the ball on the tackle. But again, Sporting quickly back in possession. We had the other 2 results from yesterday. I mentioned the Merrimack Valley Hawks 7-0 win over Connecticut. Albany, of course, beating Vermont yesterday. And then Connecticut Rush putting up 3 against Rhode Island yesterday in a 3-0 victory. And stopping what was a really good start for Rhode Island. It was a very early goal from Annie McGuire, then an own goal from Rhode Island shortly after the break, and Jillian Gregorski right at the end. So again, it really is in this conference anybody's for the taking, which is why we have this absolute logjam at 4 teams at 6 points. Albeit the majority of the other teams in the conference have only played 2 games. This is the 4th now for Sporting. Head-to-head will play its part. Goal difference will certainly play its part. And speaking of that Merrimack Valley Hawks team, mentioned that Sporting Connecticut will be playing in the Brandy Chastain Cup next week out in California, but when they return to league action, it will be hosting Merrimack Valley. That was the team, remember, that beat Sporting last year in the return game of a home and home. It was Sporting who won the home matchup, but then a 3-1 loss. It wasn't quite a wake-up call for Sporting. Again, they were perfect until that point. But with that win, Merrimack Valley, who finished second in the conference, made them sweat to get that title. It was a big switch. Looking for Weimer, overshoots her. Sobchak able to get some distance on that clearance to find Dormer. And now a chance here for the visitors to break with Quiroz. 3 ahead and with her, but Brown able to track back and win it. Delilah Otero now with Aurora Relanil. Quiroz looking to serve. It's not a bad area. Yepes gets something to it. And Carlos, safety first, plays it behind. A corner to come now for the visitors. Really good ball from Eduardo Quiroz to just put it into space. Now overshot the intended mark of Dormer. A chance now for the visitors again to try and make that climb back. And 1 goal from their first 2.5 matches in their return to WPSL. But they'd love to get a set piece goal here. And plenty of players to aim for. As this hit towards the edge of the 6, the header just goes wide. And that was Dormer, who scored yesterday. Not all that far off away. The sophomore out of Marblehead, Mass, but plays soccer and basketball for Oberlin College in Ohio. A player that will see a lot of action for both. Dormer last year 15 matches in soccer and then played 21 games in the basketball season, averaging close to 13 minutes per contest. So a true two-sport athlete. Brown off to the races here. Not a bad area from Weimer, but taken by Sobchak, and she'll release quickly, albeit maybe a little bit too quickly for Rella Neal. And ultimately it turns into nothing the other way. Now, an eventful first 15 minutes or so. Alex Chang scoring. Was it a shot? Was it a cross? Was it a well-placed ball into an area that the goalie couldn't get to? It's the latter. And that's how Sporting Connecticut get their 4th of the afternoon. That ball cushioned down, but right into the path of Kolpa. And she and Weimer have been in and amongst the goals all day today. Weimer with no goals for herself, but assisting on the first 2 for Sporting Connecticut. Stone. Again, a little bit of a short pass towards Christina that Muhammad was hunting down. And Otero forcing that one just to go back, and Sporting Connecticut will build once again. So we saw this from a couple of periods from the visitors back in the first half, where they will just compress the 3 lines and force some questions from Sporting, but a ball over the top. Brown has stayed on side. She is able to flick it towards Weimer with the keeper off of her line. Not enough power behind the lob. And the visitors will build from the opposite flank. But, when you have those 3 lines that just compress together, it forces Sporting to make decisions. You go long, that's what Vermont want in that case, or try to build through the 3 phases. That's where you need to have a lot of deceptive and delayed runs off the ball, who can open up those pockets of space. That's the adjustments that Sporting are trying to still make on the fly here, despite that 4-goal advantage. We saw Sporting use just about the entirety of their allotted subs from the first half. Big diagonal is going to work out here for Weimer as Dionizio in the box. Weimer for goal. Trying to curl it into the upper 90, but just goes wide of the mark. Pretty much everybody that was listed as a substitute did feature in that first half. That's great work again from Stone, who just really relishes that role of a central defensive midfielder, someone that is happy to just do the dirty work, tackle, but more importantly, she can ping apart a pass just like that. Weimer around the corner for Sally. Good read by Sonia Franklin. Again, it's always fascinating where you have score lines that don't really tell the full tale of how good some individual players have been, especially on defense. Franklin has been really solid today for Vermont, as there's going to be a trio of changes to come as Quiroz, Otero, and Kern all go off. Again, roll-on, roll-off substitutes in WPSL, so those players may come back at some point. As Tanakawa is on, we'll get the confirmation of the other two players in just a moment. Malaga does well to shield. Alexandria Lohner, that's one of the second of the three subs that came on. And I believe Pialora Wisniewski is the third on the other side of the field. Throw for Sporting just off to our left. Coming up on the halfway mark here of this second half. And the hosts scoring 3 in the first, 2 early, one from Culpa, one from Senator, then Tirado right on the stroke of halftime. But here goes Swiss Muhammad now. Has Dormer with her, Muhammad to goal, and Daly probably was going to go out, but nonetheless making the stop. And it's been very rare that we've seen moments from the visitors get forward. But when they've had the opportunity to attack in numbers, they have looked dangerous. And that's when Sporting have launched those big balls over the top, when it comes off of the restart, when Vermont have not gotten back and switched on defensively. When they've gotten into their shape, that's when they've been good. But going direct, it's been ideally when there's that runner that gets started early as Dionisio holds it up. No one with her as Malaga goes back. And Giovanna continuing to scrap after it. Nearly got away with it, but Franklin recovers. That's good from Yepes, and now Stone can turn into the space looking for Weimer. And not a bad idea. I think Tiffany wanted a little bit more, little curve on that one, but don't mind the area. And Stone just responds by taking that one down, and we'll restart from the back. And it looks like Sporting will get a few players going on the bench. Rare miscue, though, passing out of the back. We've seen it a couple of times in the first 5 minutes of this second half, where collectively in Hunting, where Vermont were able to get into spaces and force Sporting to go where they didn't want to in building out of the back. But one of the rare times we've seen them pass straight out. There will be a throw for the hosts. And be a throw for Sporting as it was guided out to safety by Lohner. Senator. And she had really good moments in the first half. That is a great switch by Chang, and Weimer now a chance here to bring this down. He's got a couple in the box to aim for. Cross is driven in. And Stone thought that the reset of the run would come, but it's played straight out for a goal kick. And saw those substitutes that were going on for a jog called back. Also just want to take a moment after this from Weimer, swinging in, looking for Culpa. That's well intercepted by Franklin and cleared away. And it looks like now at that next stoppage, Sporting will make changes. Ball over the top looking for Brown, but the flag will come up. And we'll just play on. Just showing, taking a moment to show our appreciation for Sporting Connecticut to their partners and sponsors for the 2026 season. Jen Rose Stone and Tile, Eagle Rivet Roofing, Center Dental Office, Player Polls, Bluegill Productions, and Duke Tig Brand. We appreciate your support of this squad in their 2026 season, which you'll again see them take a brief pause from league action next week when they travel out to take part in the 2026 Randy Chastain Cup Final against California Storm in the matchup of the last two WPSL champions. And stay tuned to Sporting Connecticut's social media channels to see where that match will be streamed. The contest will be played out in Davis, California at the Davis Legacy Soccer facility. And we don't have a U.S. Open Cup on the women's side, or even the Steinbrecher Cup that you have on the men's side for the winners of all the major amateur and summer leagues. In fact, that competition actually just got going this past weekend. Saw Vermont Green, USL League 2 champions, knock off Hickory FC, who are playing in USL League 2 now, but they won NPSL last year on penalties down in North Carolina last night. As those changes will come in for the host Lily McFadden on. Sally clearing that away. See Abby Burgess on the field. I think there was one other alteration. No, it's actually just the two. This sent sky high. It's a good flick, but Yep is able to deal with it. McFadden does ever so well to take that ball down. And now Burgess can break. Former two-sport athlete out of Central Connecticut State, both in soccer and track and field. And someone who, again, was a key goal scorer down the stretch for Sporting Connecticut last season and into the postseason. Scored 3 times in the postseason run that the club made going through the East region. Dionizio does well to keep that on. That pass, though, just a little bit stretching there for Lily McFadden, the Elon product. Now the rest of the substitutes for Sporting will get warm. Oh, it's a poor pass, and Sally's able to read it. It's not the first time that that's happened, actually, for both of these teams from playing out of the back. Fortunate for Vermont, they're able to break away from it, but that pass will go out for a throw. Oh, it's actually, our center ref said it took a deflection, so it will be possession with Vermont. As we go through the final few minutes of this match, we'll take a look at the upcoming schedules for both of these organizations in league play. This is the only time that these two teams will meet. And last season in this conference, just the 6 teams, so you could play home and away with 10 matches. Now with 8 teams, that's just well too many matches for home and away in a short period of time. So it's just the single round robin, and you play your quote-unquote travel partner. It's Ivy League for you, with Yale travels with Brown, Dartmouth and Harvard, Penn and Princeton, Columbia and Cornell. But in this case, the 2 closest teams to each other will play home and away. And for Sporting and Vail, it's roughly, with traffic and the route that you take, about 10 to 15 minutes between the 2 facilities. Good step. And Senator, I think she meant to bank off Sally like that, but it works out. Dionizio had Gillespie chasing after her, so Sporting again reset from the back. Alex Chang, who has the 4th goal of the afternoon. That came in the 50th minute. Good interception from Gillespie, not allowing the host to play down the line. Burgess not able to run that down, and Franklin will find an option. There's Newski now with Malaga. And it looks like changes, and many of them are going to come on for Sporting. See 5 players on the opposite side of the field. I did reference Vermont, of course, having the University of Vermont men's and women's hockey program made a line change earlier, did the Wild. 3-on-3 off, but this is full 5 on, 5 off. Did say it's run on, run off subs, but you can't actually make the changes during the run of play. That's save for TST, which is currently in the final stages of now. A couple of players collide with each other. We play on as Gillespie squares it across and Daly able to hold. That was an odd coming together between a couple of players. Yeah, as you could see, one of those players for Vermont looking back to the referee saying, can you bring that back for a foul? But there was no foul that was whistled. But nonetheless, there was a chance for Vermont. And now here come all those changes. So Stone, Dionizio, Sally, Senator, and Carlos all off. It'll be Johnson, Sullivan, Tirado, Simpson, and Smith all on the field. Oh, Weimer nearly took that off. That'll be a foul on Sullivan, so free kick to come. Not the worst place to disrupt a potential break. Good tackling there by Abby Johnson, a forward coming back and doing a job. The WPI product. Morella Neal able to stop that break towards McFadden on the opposite side of the field. Now here's Muhammad. And able to complete the nutmeg as well, and the move to Tanakawa. Simpson trying to get back, but Swiss able to get there. But there is Grace Simpson. Does ever so well to track back the run of the experienced forward. And again, the host can break, and Simpson has that big switch on, and she's able to, well, nearly execute it. Looked like Weimer was in. But now here's Tirado. And scored an absolute screamer right at the end of the first half, cutting onto her left and putting it into the upper 90. And it's not a bad area for McFadden, but no one was making that run. It was a good move from Sporting. It still stays on here. Is Lainey Smith able to win it back? And Simpson just under-hit that, and that is sent out of play. Yepes going short with Smith. Tirado. It's not a bad area, actually. Burgess nearly was able to hunt that down. But Muhammad once again played over the top for Dormer. Does well to knock that back towards Wisniewski. Rella Neal. Great recovery from McFadden. Not really giving anything going down that right side of the field ever since coming back on. 12 minutes left to go of normal time. And Muhammad coming up a little bit lame after that 50-50. And playing 2 matches across 30 hours or so is going to take a toll on anybody. And now Smith goes down right in front of us. And it'll be a free kick for the hosts. Good on Sydney Malaga to check on the player. Burgess, who's got the run of Johnson. It's a great ball through. A better time tackle once again from Sonia Franklin. Again, the 4-0 deficit, that doesn't really show that there could be any great individual performances on the back line, but there have been today, and Franklin is up there. One many of her duels. Good in the air as well. Ooh, and Sullivan, that's a bad one. Or she and Muhammad come together, and that one hurt, and immediately the athletic trainer onto the field. Yeah, that's just two players going up for the ball in that situation and never knowing where each are going to be, and both coaches now are going to be summoned over to attend and help out in this situation. It's Mary-Kate Sullivan for Sporting and Swiss Muhammad, who already picked up a little bit of a knock a few minutes ago. And we're checking on Mary-Kate's right leg as well. I wonder if she got, in addition to that collision, stepped on in the process or just landed awkwardly. An appreciation to both coaches coming out as quickly as possible to assist with our athletic trainer. At least good to see Mary-Kate now being back up to a sitting position. A lot of attention also going to Swiss Muhammad on just the far side of your picture. Just off of your picture at the moment, but we can tell you that Sullivan now to a seated position, been up in that way for a few moments. Again, this is coming off of just a aerial duel where both players not seeing each other going for the ball, and just very awkward fall back onto the field for both. Good to see that Mary-Kate able to get back to a seat or to a standing position, but not the sign that you want to see, having her being helped off the field. You hope that it is nothing too serious. Now the attention to Muhammad. And she was the one that weathered the worst of that aerial duel with the coming together. Again, what we're going to do is we'll step aside from live commentary for a moment. We'll keep with live pictures, and then once we resume play, we will get back. Again, it's Swiss Muhammad being attended to for Vermont, and Mary-Kate Sullivan, who has gone off the field to seek further treatment over by the sporting bed. So we'll be back with commentary in just a moment. All right, so welcome back here. Again, just filling you in on what happened. There was a aerial collision between Vermont Wild's Swiss Muhammad and Sporting Connecticut's Mary Kate Sullivan. Muhammad was able to walk off under her own power, but she had to be patched up for that collision. Mary Kate Sullivan, who you may be able to see just at the edge of your picture, this ball played over the top at a whistle and a foul on Sporting, is currently being attended to what is perceived to be her right leg. Again, the way that we saw it from this vantage point, we can only see from this vantage point. We're not going to play doctor here. I thought it might have been the potential for the awkward landing afterwards. It was originally the way that both players went down. You felt that it was just lasting impact from that head-to-head collision. But we hope for both players that it is nothing too serious. And we wish them all the very best. As if we also do get any updates over the last few minutes, we'll be sure to pass those along. Right now, Sporting here on this near side with Weimer. Has a runner in McFadden. Not a bad area as well, as Lily able to get a piece of it. It goes right back to Subcheck. Again, that collision came around the 81st, 82nd minute, and a great appreciation as well to our athletic trainer on site, quickly identifying the situation for both players, one for each team, and asking the assistance of head coaches as well to get out and assist both players. Just job well done by everybody to attend to the matter. In terms of the game context, we may have a few minutes of additional stoppage. It's only just a couple of minutes that the players both were on the field and then came off. A strong tackle from Sonia Franklin. Chang, a ball over the top. Malaga will go back. Now O'Neill. A good tackle by Kylie Carlos, who was subbed off for when Sporting Connecticut made those wholesale changes, but has now come back onto the field in replace of Sullivan. Throw for the hosts, with only just a few minutes left to go here. And also that wind that you're hearing behind us, we actually did, or at least I felt a couple of drops that came down about 15 minutes ago. There was a bit of a cell that is north to us and still coming this way. That wind, for my amateur meteorology degree, that which I don't actually have a piece of paper of, but that's one that tells me rain is coming. And it's not the question of if, it's more a matter of when. Unfortunately, I don't think with the remaining few minutes that we have that we're going to have many issues in this one. There's the question, though, when you have technology without covering. It's the last thing that you want, which is why I went out to the car to pick up a pair of golf umbrellas, and that's why I'm even more happier to say that I did bring those two with me, as this ball played down this near flank. And again, there is Sonia Franklin doing the recovery work. And Lainey Smith, that's a really good tackle from her. This might actually work out here for Weimer, but just in the nick of time is Lynn Sobchak. Carlos not happy about that tackle, even though she was the one that actually stood the tallest from it. Burgess now with a couple of players making their way into the box. Still Burgess goes on, forces a save. Still loose in the area, cleared only as far as Abby Johnson. Smith trying to hold it up, but she does really well to track back and recover. A decent effort from Abby Burgess. Almost catching the goalie off guard. The flag up, though. Oh, it's a disappointing one. Ending a really solid move. We are in the 90th minute, and we're going to be expecting 4 minutes of second half stoppage time. And mostly due to the injuries, I should say, of Swiss Muhammad and Mary Kate Sullivan. That happened about 10 minutes ago, real time. Can at least say both players are sitting on the bench, on the respective benches. It was Tirado trying to help that through, intercepted by O'Neill. Good step by Chang. Really good match for her. And stepping into that center back position. Has not really skipped a beat. We are now into that 4 minutes of second half stoppage time. In the first match that we had here at CCR and WPSL action this season, it was 5 goals coming from the hosts. Still time left if they want to duplicate that mark. Well, that's a late one there, and the referee will bring this back. And chance here for the visitors now to try and get something before the end of this one. Any sort of a consolation with something to take the trip north back up to Vermont on a better note. When pinged in, will go over everybody. It was intended for Sienna Gillespie. It'll be out for a goal kick. So again, this is what both of these teams will be looking at over their next couple of weeks for league matches. And Vermont will come back down to Connecticut, but they'll take a drive on I-91 a little bit further down to New Haven to take on the Connecticut Rush. That will be a 6 p.m. start on the campus of Albertus Magnus. Then Sporting Connecticut will be back in action at home on Saturday, June the 13th against Merrimack Valley, a 5 p.m. start. The next time Vermont is home is also on the same day as they will welcome in the other squad from Middletown, that is Vale at Applejack Stadium. Kickoff scheduled for 7 p.m. Again, WPSLsoccer.com, your place to go for all news and notes, and WPSL TV to watch every match throughout the course of the 2026 season. Simpson, a bit of wrestling inside the penalty area, but we play on. Getting into these 4 minutes of scheduled stoppage time, the third minute of those 4 right now. Johnson tackled away. And Simpson safely going back with Yepes. Ball over the top towards McFadden, trying to square that. The idea was there, but Weimer, you could see hands to face. She knew that that was the right ball. Chang will cycle this back towards Daly. And into the final minute of stoppage time now. Again, the mission today for Sporting Connecticut was to bounce back, have a quick start after a slow one last weekend out at Rhode Island. They achieved that, getting the 4 goals as well. The pick of the bunch was from Gabby Tirado on the stroke of halftime as Tirado gets fouled. And this will most certainly be the last action here. It's probably after the end of this sequence will be beyond those 4 minutes. McIntosh will serve Carlos, sorry folks. Weimer, well, that's a good effort, stinging the palms of Sobchak, and that will do it. Been years of calling Kylie by her maiden name of Kylie McIntosh, but now Kylie Carlos, so apologies there. Referee, I think, looked at the watch, but we are past the 4 minutes of scheduled stoppage time. And now a second look at the watch. That should just about do it. And there is the whistle, and it's a clean sheet at home for Sporting Connecticut. 2 wins from 2 at CCR to begin this 2026 campaign. Knock off Vermont Wild in their first ever meeting between the squads by 4-0. Aubrey Kolpa, her second of the season, scoring in the 6th minute. Emily Senator on the quarter-hour mark. Gabby Torrado with a rocket into the upper 90 right on the stroke of halftime. And then 5 minutes into the second half, Alex Chang from way downtown gave Sporting Connecticut all 3 points. That will do it from us. Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon here with us on WPSL TV and the Bluegill Productions YouTube page. For our entire crew, I'm JJ Duke saying so long and enjoy the rest of your weekend.